Hey there! You wanted to see the studio. I promise it's smaller than you expected, but here it is anyway. From my perspective, this is what I'm looking at every single week. So we're here. We got the tablet over here. Of course, we've got the drum sounds over there, and this thing right down here. We'll get into like a separate video just on how my piano works. But like you can tell from the lights on there. That like when I play an acoustic note, and yes, this is an acoustic piano, um, that it's also sending out an electrical signal, so I can turn off the keys and just get the electrical MIDI signal and not the acoustic. But like I said, we'll do a separate video just on that. But this is what I'm looking at each week when I look at you and point at you. Let's level up. That's what that looks like right there, and that is the screen of all of the stuff that Kendra's got to do, and she's just a couple steps over that direction each week. So if I could just zoom back a little bit here, this is the camera that's looking at me. This is the camera you're seeing through, and then the overhead camera is right there. So when I wave that camera, hey there, you can see that show up right there. Now those that MIDI signal right there is that screen right over there. So if we again looking back here, go past the guitar pedals. This is also where I teach all of my one-on-one students. So I've got to be able to like go back and forth between like the broadcast lessons and then the in-person lessons. So everything is kind of tucked away in a way that when a kid comes in that's maybe not as respectful of my equipment as I'd like them to be, that everything's pretty safe. But so here's the drum kit, and of course their screen over here that's controlled by all the other screens as well. And then all of the guitar pedals and stuff that we use for the lessons, and then they can see whatever I'm doing on the screen there. These are the new interview chairs, so if you've seen the new interviews we've been doing, I've got all my guitars over here and my saxophone and flute. So got all that stuff there, and then these are the chairs that we use for the interviews. So like we saw Eric Chun and any future guests are gonna that's why we have those in here now. Even though they take a lot of space, they're way more comfortable than the drum throne that we used to do. And then this is the auxiliary keyboard and Nord, and then we've got this is the station where Kendra does all of her work. So she moderates the chat right here while she's staring up at here. And like I said, over here on this other screen, that's where all the MIDI is coming through and stuff. So it's recording all of the notes that I'm playing on the sheet music, as well as recording the notes down there that I'm playing, so you can see any of that stuff, depending on what Kendra decides she's going to show on the screen at that time. And that's pretty much all of this. Here's our mixing board, all the sounds that come through there. And then under there is where we keep all the music lessons and box supplies. And then the waiting area where the in-studio student goes is out this door. And we've usually got some movie playing. Oh, it's Mary Poppins. That's fantastic. One of the best movies ever. And then over here is where they're doing all of their practicing on this laptop right here that has the broadcast and then the keyboard that they play, and then they just come right around here and come in when it's their turn to be the in-studio student on level 3 and 5. And I think that's about it. Some of my favorite posters here, you got to check this out. This is the new idioms poster that we're working on putting together. But this one right here is the history of jazz and like the family tree of all the jazz players and how they all relate to each other. I think that one's really super cool. I'm really glad to have that one. So that's one of my favorite posters. And I think that's about it for the studio. But if there's anything I missed, let me know. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.